How would you like to make your first million? And today we have Matt Meredith with us. He is the CEO of Meridian Legal Advices, and he's broadcasting from Texas, United States. So, Matt, tell us, what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Good to be here, Harry. Thanks for asking. I think for a lot of people, the first thing starts off with, what are you going to do? I've sat down with my wife on Sundays. We've tried to come up with, how are we going to make our millions? What are we going to do? You have to have a plan. From there, you got to get good at what you're going to do. You can't just walk in and say, boom, I know everything. I'm going to make a ton of money. For me, I had to go to law school. I had to learn the trade. Law is tricky. There's a lot of do's and don'ts, and you have to understand and get good at it, because nobody wants that person who, oh, let me get back to you. And you say that all over and over again. Oh, I don't know. Let me get back to you. No, understand what you're doing. From there, I think number 3 is build out a process. Don't reach. Have things set up so that, hey, when somebody comes in, they want services, you're ready to go. You're going to move forward. You've got your back office ready to go, and you look professional, and you're carrying the client. From there, one of the most important, which is probably the most important in my opinion, is build your brand. You have to do marketing. We're on podcasts today. We're trying to get our image out. I love sitting in the back of the room, drafting out legal documents, coming up with the plan. But guess what? That doesn't bring in new business. I can be phenomenal at it, Harry, but if nobody knows who I am, guess what? No one's calling me. And so from there, you have to, for me anyways, it's that uncomfortable break, that fear of being on video. Get out there. Everybody's on Instagram now. Everybody's on YouTube. Start recording. And you feel stupid at first, but then you get to the point where, I don't care anymore. Here's a new video. So marketing's huge. And from there, I think the 5th step, is also very important with the marketing, is you got to own it. This is your business. This is what you built. You've got to carry it forward. Do you need to bring in new people to help you? Do you need other ideas? Do you start expanding? You have to have something that is yours, and you got to treat it like yours. It's not your 9 to 5 anymore. This is your livelihood, something you've created. So don't let other people run it for you. Stay in control of it.
Waking the entrepreneur within you. And it's interesting. I love your step number 4, because you see, we several lawyers have been in this podcast before. We open a lot this conversation because I personally have been working in the University of Law in London, and we have a Toastmasters club there where the University of Law allows the students to come, because they don't even train the lawyers in public speaking in the university, right? And they don't have, this is not part of the curriculum, speaking in public. So how are you going to learn to persuade? And then most of you lawyers will either join a firm and eventually will be partner, or you will own your own business. And being an entrepreneur is go out there and speaking with strangers, right? And I get it that you guys are very comfortable persuading people in the courtroom, okay, because this is your space, yeah, and I still need training how to speak and persuade, because I'm very well. I don't know United States, but in London this happened for a fact because I was there, and so on the other hand, Matt, met a lot of lawyers that when I asked them, how are you going to client that they had invited first? So they had their own life. Okay? And yes, all I you said, it's amazing that all your clients come by referral. But this is the only way that you get your clients, meaning, that this lawyer hasn't wake up the entrepreneur within the lawyer, and goes even more complex. I hear, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, that in some states in the United States, they are not going to allow, because I think that to have a law practice, you have to be a lawyer. I hear that there are some states in the United States that they're considering, I don't know if it's approved, that will let other people that they're not lawyers own law practices. And this is a problem, because if somebody comes, they don't know about anything about law, but they know how to run a business. I can tell you that they will outperform the lawyers, entrepreneurs, because they know how to do marketing, they know how to do sales, they know how to do podcast, they know how to develop a brand. And then after they have everybody, they just call some lawyers to work for them. And you guys are going to be left out after you went to school, what I think is quite sad. No, so what message do you have for your fellow lawyers, entrepreneurs out there that are still they're in a law firm business, but they only getting the clients by referral, and what message to them?
So I've this as well. I think it may be California that has talked about, hey, we're going to let other people step in. A lot of the states are still very, no, not going to happen. And the reason for that is the non-lawyers can't own an actual law firm is because they don't want influence over the legal aspects of it. And so when we meet with people, it's like, look, I'm here to solve your legal issue. There's no outside influence that comes in and says, hey, look, we're a public company, or hey, we've got investors, or hey, I own half of this company. You only meet with the client for 20 minutes, do the work and move forward. And so it's an ethics question. And you're seeing a lot of things coming up now, especially in the financial services industry, where people who aren't lawyers are bringing in these type of setups with these forms. So they're not technically giving legal advice. They're advising their client, hey, you need an estate plan. Come in and do this. It's a lot of problems. That's why probate has become such a lucrative business, because, oh, you're online and you didn't put all this stuff into it. Well, not you, because you probably would have passed, but your mother made this will online. And so what we're seeing with the industry is there's a lot of people trying to get into it. And so my background is wealth management. I was with JP Morgan. I was an equities trader back in before the in 07, 08. And so I understood the market. I understood how things worked. And then I got into advising. And the issue with advising was, as I got older, I kept learning new things. I knew tax. I knew a lot about tax. I knew a lot about estate planning, but I wasn't a lawyer. And so when a client would ask the problem, like, hey, what's going to happen here? The company would come back and say, no, you can't answer that. You're not a lawyer. And so at that point, it was, here, hold my Topo Chico. I'm going to law school so I can bring all this in to one shop. And so now I've got Meridian Legal Advisors. We do tax, financial plan, all of it in one. And it's one person managing everything. But I still look at these advisors who aren't attorneys giving legal advice, and a lot of times the advice is wrong. When I talked about, step number 2, get good at what you're doing, understand it. That's not just to sell, it's to protect yourself. Because if you do something wrong, we live in a very litigious society. Somebody will sue you. Even if you do it right, somebody will probably still sue you. So you better have a better explanation of, oh, well, my business partner who's not an attorney wants it done this way. Yeah, license gone. Or, I didn't know, Your Honor, my bad. Yeah, gone. And so the industry's constantly changing. I think it's up to the consumer to make the ultimate decision. Does the consumer want to be with the traditional aspects, or do they want to go, hey, here's somebody who doesn't have a law degree dictating what's going to happen? Do I want to take that risk? Where's it going? We'll probably all be replaced by AI in a year and a half, Harry. So I don't know.
AI and all business. A lot of people, and even if people need contracts and everything, they go into ChatGPT. They're trying to do this. So, how reliable it is, and is this true that AI, generative AI, can compete with you guys?
So in law, you hear all the time, wow, watch out, ChatGPT will hallucinate. Like it makes up cases. I don't think that's true anymore. I use ChatGPT. I use it for a lot of things. I think the older versions are not the newer versions. When it first came out, 2021, you had a lot of problems with it. They've fixed that. It's far beyond. I talk to lawyers all the time who, no, I'm not using ChatGPT. It'll never be good. Well, I also use it myself. So I can go in there and I can take my understanding of what I have, which is a lot more than most people, and I can tailor it into creating something that really works. Now, it's not the final ordeal. I have friends come up all the time and like, hey, I created a waiver of liability for my gym, and I want you to take a look at it and tell me if it's any good. And I can immediately tell, well, you did this online and you're missing all these important things. And I think as time evolves, the programming, the itself gets a lot better, a lot stronger, but there's still an understanding. It's
An
I
insurance
always
policy. You need someone
exactly.
to validate.
Yeah, I talk about this. Like my wife's an engineer and she has time to time bring home plans for something. And I'll look at the plans and I understand a little bit about it. Like I could tell you where something is, but I have no idea of the complexities of it. And that's what AI really is like I can give you the map, but if you need directions and you need to navigate the map, you better understand what you're doing because there's attorneys who are hired to come in and completely break this thing down. And it's the versions of these forms that you create. Very simple. Well, if all I'm doing is giving everything to my spouse when I die, fantastic, very easy. But if I own businesses, if I have certain specific tax issues, I better go see somebody who understands it because the basic version doesn't cover any of it. And you'll find yourself in a lot of trouble because you didn't think about it. You didn't know to think about it. You haven't seen it before because you don't sit in courtrooms all day watching a plaintiff tear a guy apart and take money from him personally because he was able to pierce the corporate veil.
So the other thing is that lawyers and the entrepreneur, it's competitive. You decide to be a lawyer, right, or in finance, all that. It's because you like to be in front of the computer in your corner, like you said, reading and writing documents, reading about. That's what you big center anyway, because this is what you love, right? Uh, Unlike things, it's not like if you would like to be in front of people and to be doing podcasts, or why you be a TV presenter, you will be something. If you decide to be a lawyer, because this is what you guys are comfortable. However, running a business nowadays, you have to be a TV star, a movie star. Me too. I'm having this podcast, and a lot of people talk to you. Well, one of the things I'm in business. So you are in business these days. You have to be the brand, and in the podcast is a good way of it, right? So from the main mission, which is help all the entrepreneurs out there to grow the business, right? And so tell us about this transition because it should be quite conflicting. Okay, accountants, lawyers, finance, even investors, right? Is they're comfortable with only with a spreadsheet, with documents, analyzing stuff. One is told by anybody, whether the personality of start to do marketing or and get involved in marketing because even directly, if you want your company to grow, you have to be the front of the sales and marketing exercise of the how we discussing how can we make your first million. It's a sales and marketing exercise. If you're the best lawyer in town, to make the first million might take you 5, 10 years. Who knows? Because you're only getting your clients by referral, and you're
Mhm.
very good. So of course, people are gonna bring you people because they are happy. This process takes a lot of time, and I always said you should have minimum 12 marketing strategy, 12 different ways to bring list client to organization, and a referral is also only what you do. And the reason because they're afraid, scared of public speaking, scared of go out in front of class, scared on social media, scared what, I'm a professional person here, what I'm gonna do in TikTok or in Instagram or doing this. So tell us how you overcome that fear, and what message do you have for your fellow lawyers and entrepreneurs out there regarding this?
Definitely. I think so. My background, I would talk to people all the time. I was sales, I would sell investments. And even before I got into financial advising, I was part of the old school brokerage aspect. So we'd get on the phone, we'd call people, cold call them, try to talk to them, try to get them interested to sell them stocks and things like that. When the recession happened, trading kind of went away. So it became financial advising. But I had spent all this time on a trading desk with guys who, for a living, made a lot of money talking to people. And I remember watching one of them on the phone one day, and I was just mesmerized by it. This guy knew how to talk. And so then I just started paying attention to how he talked all the time and tried to get better at how I did. Don't show emotion. Don't try not to curse. Be professional but be interesting at the same time. And so I've always tried to make that happen. So going to law school later in life because I wanted to fill these gaps where I was sitting as a financial advisor saying, "Hey, I want to be able to do tax. I want to be able to do the estate planning. I want to write contracts. I want to bring it all together." I had an advantage because I understood a lot of what other people didn't. So I didn't have a problem with speaking because I knew the material. It's very hard to speak to somebody when you don't know what you're talking about. And if you want to look like a deer in headlights, talk about a topic you've never heard and see how long you can go with it. And then the client starts asking questions and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, this is bad. Like I got to change this direction." When it comes to law and things like that, know how to talk. Then it becomes the processing. And so I've got a CEO who's fantastic. We work together at another company. We came together to build Meridian out. And she puts it to me all the time: you no longer really get to do the work. Now, I've already told you, I love doing the work. I like sitting in the back, drafting it out. But here's the reality of the company: I am the biggest asset of the company. My job is not to sit there and spend 8 hours doing a plan, it's to go get the next customer. And in order to do that, I have to get over all those fears, all those vulnerabilities of somebody leaving a rotten comment that says, "Oh, you're an idiot," or "This is the worst advice I've ever heard," or "Nobody uses LLCs anymore." And I just have to get past it. And then I have to go record another video. And I have to record another video. Now, here's the beautiful thing about when you first start off: no one's watching your videos. You just there yet. So you get over that fear rather quickly. And then you start saying, "Well, nobody's leaving like a bad
Point.
comment." Yeah, exactly. A bad comment would be better than no comment at all. Give me something. But that's the truth with it. If you want to scale and you want to bring in more, you have to do what brings in more. And sitting there drafting the legal aspects of it, that doesn't bring in more. That services what you have, but you can bring in a team that is just as good as you on it, maybe even better. Let them service that, and your role or my role turns to two things: it's bringing the next client, and the client that comes in, make sure they're happy. Keep that client happy, call them all the time, handle the customer service aspects, because that's another referral source. They're going to say, "Look, Matt at Meridian calls me weekly. We talk. Fantastic. Let me recommend him." And so it's changing. You still do all the roles of the company, but what part is going to bring in the next client? That becomes your main thing. Now, I would love to have somebody else do that, but then I got to take my face off the company and I got to take my name off the company because it becomes their company. And as an entrepreneur, I don't know if I want to do that, Harry. I enjoy the building of it.
Because and why you're doing amazing, and I think that uh, we need more lawyers like you, right? In
Thank
one of the And because at the end of the day, the whole point is to make that business grow. And I think that you see, it's aligned with your values. Okay, if you have nothing to hide, you go on camera, you go public, right? I think that, and you do have an advantage because your competitors are not doing it. They have something, but they're afraid. Yeah, they had the fear, which is sad. And then I reach for 1 million people, and I claim thousands of people off the world. Well, because the fear of public speaking, and it's if there's something wrong with you, it's nothing wrong with you. It's everybody. And the reason that happened is very simple. When you were a kid, your mom comes tell you, "Hey, don't talk to strangers." And you want again not talk to strangers, then maybe your dad told you, hey, don't do that, don't talk to strangers. So in very early age, you've been taught for the people you love the most, don't talk to strangers. This is bad. It's not good. So it's already embedded in your unconscious mind so deep that you don't even know that. And later on in life, you're in business, and guess what? You have to talk to strangers every day. And how you get
Very true.
comfortable with that since you're a kid, you have a contradicted was your parents are trying to protect you, and they will never let you to speak with a stranger. That's their job as parents, to tell you, don't do that. This is bad, So,
Exactly.
but we don't know, but it does have an impact. So that's why when every country I go, people they have this thing apparently. How do I have a fear? It just means people think that it's them only. No, it's everybody. It doesn't matter which country I go. It's everybody because everybody had the same similar incident, memories. So some people more anchored than the other one, depending on how they've done off, how often. So, but go ahead.
When you think about it, especially the business type, and so we do a lot of things, and the whole goal I had when I was just advising people with wealth was I'd have to send them off to a CPA, I'd have to send them off to an attorney. And what would happen over and over again was the CPA would say something, the attorney would say something different. The client's paying all this money, comes back to me, is mad because nobody's talking together. And I'm sitting here saying, no, this can't be right. So I had this idea. This should all be done with alignment. People need to be together. But here's the thing, nobody was doing that. And so the ordeal was I made
Wow.
a great idea, but no one knows about this idea. So now I have no choice but to get in front of people and say, hey, this is the new way of doing it. One stop. You come in, we handle your estate planning, your business, your tax, your asset protection, your financial planning. You only have to talk to one person. Not only that, the attorney is sitting with the CPA going through it together. And so now there's no misalignment. And the more complex your business is, the more needs it serves, the more you have to get out and yell at the top of your lungs saying, hey, I've got this amazing idea. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you money. All you got to do is call me and I'll tell you about it. But like you said, a lot of people don't want to get that message out. A lot of people haven't spent the time to create that message. And that's the beautiful thing about branding is in this industry, everybody talks about what's your elevator speech? What's your elevator speech? You got 45 seconds to impress me. I hate an elevator speech. I have way too much to say. Normally, when people say, what do you do? I just say, I'm an attorney. What do you need help with? And that's it. It's like, what do you need? And then I can go in
Two
further.
seconds.
Exactly. And then I stop for the other 30 seconds. And I think for a lot of lawyers, a lot of people coming in, especially when they're younger, they're terrified of that conversation. My wife is a phenomenal speaker, but she's from Mexico. Her first language is Spanish. And so when she has to put it into English, she pauses and she's just afraid to do it. And she asks me all the time, how are you able to speak in public? Well, here's the truth that nobody who's a public speaker really tells you is I practice.
I'd say to everybody, I always tell them, public speaking is practice. It's skill based. When you practice, the better you become. When I finish my conference, the people always telling me, Oh, Harry, that was amazing, man. You are a great speaker. I just tell you, guys, I've done this 1,000 times. There's nothing
100%.
amazing about it. It's a practice so much that you develop a skill.
That's it. And people think that, oh, great public speakers, they just stand
Don't,
up, they
don't
don't
even
worry.
talking about the podcast. If you see my first podcast in this episode, we interviewed 500 million. If you see the first 10, 15, 20, 100, you cry. Oh my God, what is that? I
Oh,
was
I'm the
doing,
same way.
it's,
I go and I look
go ahead, go ahead.
I look at the videos that I recorded first. And it's because if you watched Friends, which everybody has, go
Yeah.
look at season 1 of Friends. It was
Yeah.
pretty bad. Like they were off
Yeah.
timing, but come season 3, they're in motion. And that's what public
They're right.
speaking is. Like it's clear. I go from this grainy video, suddenly there's a microphone, suddenly there's a 4K camera, suddenly I'm sitting different. And that's the progression. You don't just wake up and start being good at it. You have friends call you and said, "Hey, great video, but why are you sitting so far back?" Or great public speaking, but Matt, you said and 45 times. And then you start obsessing when you're
I'm
talking to
still
people.
working on the games. Yeah. Been a long, interesting journey. Yeah. Spanish is my mother tongue, so English is my second language, so in mine, yeah. And every time that I speak, I got my partner waiting for me with the list of all the mistakes I make. So as soon as I get off the stage, she's waiting for me. Yes, look, you did this. But you have to keep practicing. It's skill based. The more you practice, the better you become. I want to add, I multiple stream of income. My first business there in London was in property. We managed to sell 5 million. But how we did that, it was only with the property. I remember that I was going to the rooms and said to my clients, okay, well, I'm leaving Harry. Okay, why you leaving? At the time, my clients usually were young people that travel to Europe to stay after they finish university in Europe. There is a tradition to go to London to learn English. And so all those university students mainly they traveled to England and they went. Nobody was giving them rooms because they don't pay slips, they don't have a track record, they don't have jobs, they don't have anything. Well, I was for landing services, so I was giving them the rooms. Okay, to the accommodation, provide the accommodation. I was happily taking this ones. Okay, but then when they were leaving, I would tell them, "Why are you leaving?" They would tell me, "Aaron, the English school is too expensive. I cannot stay longer. My parents cannot pay me." So I said, "You know what, guys? Forget it. I opened it. We're gonna have our own English school, affordable. Yeah." And I'm thinking, if, they don't leave. It's more income for my. For I don't need to go out and find another client, have the vacancy and so on. And when we have volume, so I took the office. I divided it in two. The whole office first was real estate, and I arrived time and I cut it in half. I said, okay, real estate is this corner, this half. I bought a 30 chairs and a screen, and I put an ad. I said, we're looking for English teachers. Yeah. And the queue of British English teachers that show up would be amazing. I probably am the only person that owns an English school without speaking English. But
Go.
then you have a client, and then so now he's buying two services. Is only like you did this is getting the accommodation, where the standards that we require, and now we are making sure that we have very good English teachers and that the lessons are not too high, right? Just a photo, we can make a little bit of run, but that same client is buying two times. Then we happen to the career advice, yeah. So the there are different ways to grow a business. But one very effective is people say, okay, have more clients, but also offer alternative client, alternative services to those clients that already bought from you, that have a relationship with you, and you know that nobody else out there can take care better of them than you. Okay, why don't offer something else, something that you have done fantastic? Yeah, I learned this by accident. Yeah, I didn't. I just went to the rooms. So by accident, I take the school, and then if we want to stay longer, we need to find a job as a waiter or something to pay the room. And I say, okay, fine. We do the CV, we do the career advice for you, and we put you in. So we were doing the CV. So then, when they show the CV in a week or two, they already have a job that can do they can be waitress, work in the bar, in gastronomy, in the services industry. So with that money, they can learn English, practice at work, they can practice English at work, and they can pay rent, they can school. So they don't need a friends anymore. So,
Well,
how happened to you? How you realize that? Hold on a minute. Let me focus because Matt, what we see out there is that a lot of businesses they spend a fortune trying to get strangers and new clients all the time to organization, but no taking some time, effort, and energy nurturing your actual clients and see if there is something that they need that you can also help them with. So tell us how you did that. How what happened by accident like me?
no, no, I being the financial wealth management, that industry has changed so much over time. It used to be, hey, I call you, hey, there's this amazing stock, let me for you. And then when I had a new stock, I'd call that same client. Well, that industry really changed to more, hey, I'm managing your money. Well, if I'm charging you a percentage of your assets, I better pick up the phone and call you. I better be talking to you. And within that conversation, I'm discovering other needs. When I started adding law to everything, it really changed because now not only could I do the advising aspects of it, but over here I had a law firm. And so you needed an estate plan, I could do that. You needed a business, I could do that. And so it started all these it's Rockefeller, it's expansion. Grab what you can. Now don't go too far out to do, hey, it's going to take me forever to figure this out and I'm not going to make any money. But there are common needs. When a person opens up a business and they need asset protection, they need a trust. And so the way it has been in the industry for so long is you go see your estate plan attorney, you go see your tax person, you go see that business attorney. So you're going to see all these people. And I said, there's no reason for this. Why don't I bring in people that can align everything? And so now when we're talking about asset protection, it's like, hey, we got to build you out an estate plan because the trust needs to own this. Well, I don't have an estate plan. Well, we're going to do it for you. And a lot of the ways that, as you're talking about, you're getting more business. You might not have hundreds of people coming in just for estate plan, but they come in for business and then they need the estate plan and they need tax strategy and they need these things. So you start grabbing the client and getting all their needs handled. And so you're making more money. But with that, I'm a firm believer, hey, the more things you're buying from me, I charge you as much. So the ticket price comes down, but the client's getting the estate plan, the business built out, asset protection, tax strategy, and then financial planning included in it. And when you do that for a person and you do it with integrity, the client stays. The client comes back next year saying, hey, we need to do tax strategy again. Or, hey, I bought a new property. I need you to put it in my business setup. It's protected. I'm protected. And you start growing the client that way, getting all their needs handled, and you try to grab the other clients and handle. Now, of course, you do have that one client who comes in, I just want a trust. That's all I want. Give me the trust, and you'll never talk to him again. And you try to talk to him, you try to stay in touch with him so that you can get more business and expand out. But I think with as you mention it, if you can do more than one thing for the person, they start relying on you more. Hey, what else can you do? Because I found you and I don't want to go find somebody else. I like you.
So, Matt, if somebody's in love with this conversation, want to find out about more about you, services, how you doing with there, how people can find you, how this process works.
So, Harry, I'm everywhere now. I've got videos all over the world.
Tell us, can
so,
find you.
So always start with the website, meridianlg.com. That's where you'll find our contact information. But if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on YouTube, I have pages, Meridian Legal Advisors. We're out there. You can always reach out to us, call us from the website, contact us from there, email me. I'm all over the place, constantly updating the website. Hopefully that becomes the main go-to, but you've got to move everything from YouTube over to the website. It takes time. So, but I'm out there. You can always find me.
No
And
move. Leave it in YouTube also.
it'll stay there.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. We're not moving anything. We're keeping everything.
Well,
It's
and
like
Harry,
we
one
have
of the
to be
things.
everywhere if we're in business, right?
Oh, 100%. And one of the things I learned is I spent a lot of time with the website, and I look at my website and I started realizing nobody reads anymore. And so now I'm recording videos to stick on the website. So instead of reading who we serve, you can just
Mm-hmm.
click the video
Mm-hmm.
and do it. And
Mm-hmm.
so we sit here and we talk about, oh, you got to break free from that fear. But once you break free from it, really
100%.
the sky becomes the limit. It's, hey, I'm going to make a video for this because people will watch that versus read. And so there's so many to getting over those fears.
Yeah. Like for example, there is you have to there are people that only like to watch videos. There are people only that like to look at websites. There are people only to like to read blogs. There are only people that like only to listen podcasts in the gym. So uh if you're not there in all the forms, where there is a sector of them that you are leaving out because you have a problem with the camera, because you have a problem, you don't want to be podcast, because you don't want to write blogs, because you don't want to, well, how if you want to cater for a larger market and in your space, which is very competitive, by the way, and
Yeah.
very difficult to differentiate yourself, right? It's one of the spaces that I see is, and I do this for a living, that were Harry marketing and thing for a law firm. Oh my God, for a law firm, you know how you get different, you know, or for the financial planning, or for accountant, you know, this is a very the only way that you can differentiate. And today in business, people are not only looking at the business, people are looking who's the person behind the business. You know, the clients are very savvy nowadays, and they're looking who's the person. I like the person. I don't like it. I don't like that he makes too much jokes. Actually, he has a sense of humor. I like it. Just see what I mean? So people will
100%.
resonate how you will be you will attract them in a way that before they buy, they need to trust you, right? So how they gonna like you? They never see you, they never hear you, they never see what you think, or so. Again, not only to our fellow to out there, but all to everyone the financial services. That okay, take math as an example of braveness, yeah, and like that. Sometimes Steve Jobs always said, "You always can find the dots when you cite them back." Yeah, who's gonna tell you that at the beginning you calling everybody and selling? Well, after you went to the law school, everything would be actually the key thing in order to grow on a Spanish business. So, Matt, thank you so much
Oh,
for the
thank you, sir.
podcast. I think you're brilliant. Yeah, you're doing amazing. Yeah, and we want more lawyers like you with the shiny light, with the microphone, telling, "Look, I'm proud of my business, and I'm here to offer you my services, and I'm confident that nobody will be looking after you better than I am." You know what I
Indeed,
mean?
sir. Indeed.
Yeah, 100%. So, Matt, thank you so much. And for all of you following the broadcast, see you in our next episode of Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneurs like Matt break that wall and achieve the first breakthrough. Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.